The SEC on CBS Postgame Report is presented by Belfor, the leading disaster recovery partner for businesses and communities. The SEC on CBS Game of the Week taking us to Jacksonville for an age-old rivalry. And lately it's been a bit one-sided as Georgia has now won 6 of the last 7 games in the series, 3 straight by 20-plus points as they win on this day 43-20. Ladd McConkey catches his first touchdown of the season. Their first game without Brock Bowers. So if you're saying, hey, this Georgia offense, the whole offense is Brock Bowers, well, it's not Brock Bowers. They've got a lot of other guys like Dejon Edwards and Kendall Milton, and they've got guys that can play. And they have been able to win and win big as they win their 25th game in a row. Let's welcome in CBS Sports HQ college football analyst Barrett Sallee. Barrett, look, for those of the people saying that the whole offense is Brock Bowers, clearly that is incorrect and more one of those casual statements.
Yeah, it's a casual statement for sure. Like, there are dudes everywhere, but Ladd McConkey, this is a guy who, before Stetson Bennett last year and then Carson Beck this year, he is just reliable. He has a connection with his quarterbacks. And coming in, this is really the first game that I thought he looked at 100%. I remember looking at him on the sidelines when they played Auburn, and he got a little bit of run in that game, but he did not look like he was functional at all. Slowly but surely, he has become one of the stars of the sport, one of the most underrated players in the entire country, and getting Ladd McConkey back as Brock Bowers goes out is huge because now the offense can run through McConkey instead of Bowers. He was a flat-out stud. And look, there are weapons all over the place. You saw Oscar Delp come in. Oscar Delp had the one-handed catch in the first quarter. Dominic Lovett had some big plays. There are guys everywhere for Georgia. So no Brock Bowers, no problem. You have a guy like Carson Beck. You have a receiver back in Ladd McConkey. They'll be just fine in Athens.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey, 6 catches on 7 targets for 135 yards. His first touchdown of the season, that 41-yard touchdown. When you're able to have him to step up and create the production that you don't have from Brock Bowers, at least for the next month or so, and you have a guy like McConkey who's an upperclassman and can make plays, this is a luxury for Kirby Smart and the Dogs offense.
Well, yeah, it is. And then think about this. You know, it can still run through the tight end. I mean, Oscar Delp can still serve as a Brock Bowers type and have the offense run through him. But now you have Ladd McConkey, and think about what this does now. It opens up things everywhere. I'm talking especially for running backs out of the backfield. We saw Georgia the last couple of years with James Cook, Kenny McIntosh, or whoever. They used running backs as receivers. Think about this now. You can use Brock Bowers when he comes back. You have the receivers that can create one-on-ones with running backs out of the backfield, so they can build off of all of this. So I think what you saw, yeah, it's great for Ladd McConkey, but now you're going to go back to the film room if you're Georgia and you're Mike Bobo and you're thinking, okay, now we can get the ball to Dominic Lovett. Now we can get the ball to Dejon Edwards in a variety of different ways in the passing game. And oh, by the way, Dejon Edwards looks like a pretty solid #1 running back himself. So this Georgia offense rounding into form even without Brock Bowers. It looks like it's something special.
Yeah, Dejon Edwards, 15 carries for nearly 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns in a big old win for the Dogs as they dominate their rivals once again in this matchup in Jacksonville. And it is incredible to put in perspective what Georgia's been able to do. 25 straight wins, the 4th longest streak in SEC history. Ultimately, they're chasing a 3rd straight national championship, something that we've only seen once, which was done long time ago. But if Georgia can continue to play the way it's playing in its defense, there's no reason why we can't think that Georgia could three-peat. And I know Michigan's out there. I know Ohio State's out there. Florida State's out there. But Georgia is getting it done on both sides of the football with and without Brock Bowers. Let's get right to the site. Back out to Jacksonville with the man who called this game, Brad Nessler. Gracious of him to spend a few minutes with us. And Brad, those people out there saying this whole offense is Brock Bowers, clearly it's not. What did you see from this Georgia offense this afternoon?
Yeah, Akeem, you know, I think it's the sum of the parts. It's not one guy. And they always say when somebody goes down like that, and his coach speak, you know, next man up. Well, there's not another man like Brock Bowers around. But Oscar Delp did a pretty good imitation of him today. And Lucky Lawson, also the freshman tight end, you know, they made up for it. But you already talked about everybody had a hand in this. It was Ladd McConkey. It was Deshaun Edwards. It was Dominique Levet. It was Ra Thomas. I'm just talking about the offensive guys. And then you got Carson Beck pulling the trigger. And I thought his numbers were actually better than they were. I think he was 19 out of 28 for 315 and 2. But he's so confident. And week in and week out, he continues to grow along with this offense. But I think this is going to make Georgia a better team. You know, I was wondering, too, just like everybody else in the whole country, like, what do you do without number 19? They mixed it up today, and they mixed it up beautifully. Give Mike Bobo credit, the offensive coordinator, for having all those different guys ready to take some of the spots and some of the plays that Brock Bowers probably would have had. So, you know, when Brock Bowers is out there, it's kind of like a wide receiver that's 6'4", and he's, you know, like a superstar. You know, it's 50-50 balls, and you want him to win every one of the 50-50 balls. When Brock Bowers is out there, it's like an 80-20 ball. I don't care where you throw it to him, he's going to catch it. And without having him, you know, I had some question marks. And I know Georgia fans, I got a lot of friends that are Georgia fans. They had questions, too, but they got answered pretty well today. I think it was a statement game for Georgia.
Yeah, we saw Oscar Delp make a one-handed catch. So how's Brock Bowers' backup? Pretty darn good. And yeah, they don't have 19, but Brad, they have 84. Ladd McConkey, who was playing in his 4th game of the season, he was coming back from injury, missed the first part of the year with the back injury, and he has a huge game. 6 catches on 7 targets, 135 yards receiving, his first touchdown of the season to really pace this offense. And you saw the rushing and the ground game. But let's talk about this defense that's best in the SEC. How have you seen this defense get better from the start of the season to now?
You know, it's kind of like 2 weeks ago. Vanderbilt got a long touchdown pass. Georgia was a little confused on their coverage. And as soon as that happens, they go into this mode that, like, nobody else has. They go, that's it. Now, they gave up more points to the Gators today. But from that point on, from the opening touchdown drive today, you know, Florida took it right down the field. Graham Mertz was 5 for 5 for 60-some yards and the touchdown. And that's when Georgia went into that defensive mode where they just say, okay, that's it. We're stopping this. And they came up with huge plays on 4th down. You know, Smile Munden had the trick play that he blew up when Etienne was going to throw it on 4th and short. A couple times today on 4th and short, Florida probably should have punted instead of what they did. But Georgia thrives on that. And, you know, they're not maybe that dominant defense that they were a couple years ago and even maybe last year when they had Jalen Carter and those guys. But, man, they're getting better and better. And you saw some young guys rotate in there again today. It's the same process, that same roll guys in there when you've got a lead. Let them play. Let them get a taste of it. C.J. Allen, linebacker, played quite a bit of the second half today. So that's how they do it at Georgia, man. They just keep rolling guys out there, and the more experience they get, the deeper they get, and they're still the deepest team in the country, if you ask me.
Georgia's next 3 games are against ranked opponents, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. What's your outlook for the Dogs' rest of way here?
Well, you know, early in the season, I think when you're 2-time national champions, everybody looks at you and goes, oh, you got an easy schedule. Well, everybody thought that Ole Miss would have stumbled a couple more times than they have. Everybody thought Missouri, oh, we don't have to worry about Missouri. Missouri had an off week to get ready for Georgia, and then they go into Athens. But I don't think Georgia's lost in Athens since South Carolina, but it seems like it was 10 years ago. So, yeah, they still got a tough schedule, and, you know, going up on Rocky Top's going to be hard. You know, Lane Kiffin will add some surprises for him. Coach Drink will, too, next week that we'll see in part of our triple header on CBS. So it's not over, but they control their own destiny, and this was a big leap today just to get by Florida. Had they stumbled here, it would have been a mess, and they would have had a heck of a time getting to Atlanta. They just gave themselves the one leg up. They'll take that next leg up next week if they can beat Mizzou, and, you know, then whatever Tennessee does, it might not matter by that point.
25 straight wins for the Dogs. They dominate the Gators on this day. Brad Nessler here with us on CBS Sports HQ. Brad, thanks. We'll see you next week on CBS.
You got it, my friend. Take care.
Great stuff there from Jacksonville as Georgia dominates the Gators. They win by 23 points, 43-20. That's 3 straight wins against the Gators by 20 or more points in the series. They've now won 6 of the last 7 in the series. Georgia improves to 8-0, looking to complete a perfect regular season. They got Missouri, though, coming up, a game you can see next week on CBS.